Have you ever thought of how it would be to live a life where you're free, fearless, and unstoppable? Imagine waking up in the morning, looking forward to the day ahead, enjoying a joyful, passionate life that you deserve. If so, our brand new Unstoppable, Renew You, Love Your Life 90-day coaching program is for you. This is a balanced, well-crafted program that will guide you through a 3-step process over a course of 90 days that meets weekly, led by Dr. Stem over Zoom. In 12 weeks, you'll get to the heart of what's holding you back so you can reset and refresh your life. The program is based on 3 pillars: inner healing, self-discovery, and self-development. Don't waste any more time putting off your heart's desires. If you want clarity and guidance as you step into your wholeness, join Dr. Stem in this life-changing program. To be a part of the next group, apply at www.drstemy.com. Seats are limited. Go ahead and register. Now, here is Dr. Stem.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started because we have a very, very, very full agenda for today. I'm excited about today's session because we're talking about stress management and how we can better manage those little stresses that come in. In fact, how do we even recognize that? And I'm excited also because I got to have a conversation with somebody that I've been stalking in these social media spaces for a very long time, because I think that she is not only is she from Zimbabwe, and I think understands the immigrant experience and how we experience stress and how it might be different from somebody else. You know, it's like I always listen in to my American colleagues who are shocked when they hear, oh, I'm sending money to my parents. They're like, why are you sending money to your parents? You know, or when you have those conversations, I'm sending money for my family. They just don't understand, right? But those are some of the stresses that come into the immigrant experience. But today we have Dr. Stem Matlatini, and Dr. Stem, I forgot to print out your introduction. Sorry, you know, but I think it's somebody that I have followed, as I mentioned to you, for a very long time and has worked in this space. And as I was thinking about the conversations that we've had, some of them on this forum, some of them in private, you know, I thought she was just the perfect person to have this conversation with us today. So I'm not going to say much more, but Dr. Stem, maybe you could start out by giving us a little bit more about yourself and then move into the presentation.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. And don't worry, you're going to see my face. You know, I'm going to turn on my camera after we do this. But I just wanted, she told me that you usually don't record this, but I wanted to make sure that we can record this. That way you can play it afterwards and I'll open up my camera. Then we can really have a discussion. So my background, I've been here in the United States from Zimbabwe for 37 years. This year, 2023, I'll be in the United States for 37 years. I am a licensed mental health professional, psychotherapist, and I have a private practice for 25 years. I operated in Boston, Massachusetts, as well as in Orlando, Florida, where I am right now. So I've been doing individual, family, couples therapy, and I also do business coaching for people that want to start businesses. And I'm also a trainer, a corporate trainer that does, trainings like this one here for corporations, wellness trainings, they call them. If you ever heard about EAP, I am a certified employee assistance professional. So if you ever use that, you might even ask for a Zimbabwean, and I can guarantee you that the only Zimbabwean that will come up in the EAP profiles is me. And, I'm recruiting more so we can be more Africans because we need more of us, working in this EAP, which is the Employee Assistance Program, programs that every job has. And I mean every job. But we're going to talk more about it when we do the discussion. So today, I'm honored to come to you and talk about recognizing and managing stress, creating balance for a healthier, happier, not only new year, but new every day, personally, at home, and at work. So what are some of the things that, stress us? I wanted to point these out. And as we do the discussion, we can talk about more things that might individually or personally affect you. So I don't know about you. Today, 36 years later, I can say being in a foreign land is no longer as stressful as it used to be. Is it still stressful? Yes, it is. The jobs are stressful. Citizenship status, whether you are now, still applying for citizenship, you have a green card, or you're looking to get, change your work permit, all those things stress us and they don't stress anybody else. If you're married, if you're single, if you're separated, if you're divorced, that is stressful in its own. Disciplining your kids, raising kids in this country and not at home is a whole totally different, I call it monster, based on how we grew up, how we were raised, and now the requirements, especially with the laws and everything here. I have talked to many parents that really have challenges with, disciplining or even just raising kids, not just disciplining, but raising kids in this foreign land. Busy times at work, illnesses, death, whether it's here or back home, that is very, very stressful. And just even not being able to attend the funerals at home or to no longer see those loved ones that are continuously passing whilst we're here, that's very stressful. Managing finances, coping with challenging relationships, dealing with family back home, as was mentioned at the beginning, to say, sending money home, people don't understand why we have to continuously support the people that are at home. Stress is everywhere. Stress is around us. It is impossible to totally prevent stress. So I don't want to come here today and say, oh, you can, prevent it. Managing it and preventing it are two different things. So we're going to be talking about recognizing and managing stress. So based on these things, as we prepare for our discussion, after I present, I want you to just, write down. I hope that you have a piece of paper, which I forgot, to mention, to say, an email should have been sent out where you just grab a piece of paper and just write down, some things. But then, what the good thing is we're recording it. So when you replay this here, get yourself a piece of paper, a book, and just write down from this list your top 3 things that are stressing you up, and just write those top 3 things that are stressing you or that have stressed you, that that these are the 3 things, top things that I know I struggle with myself. So stress is a silent killer. I'm sure you all have heard people saying diabetes is a silent killer. I'm diabetic. My mother is diabetic. So it's genetic as well as, stress induced. But stress in itself, people don't talk about it. It is also a silent killer. Why? Because the symptoms of stress, they often go unnoticed, and the body begins to shut down before anyone can make an accurate diagnosis. Especially for us Africans. We are told to just continue to work hard, to continue to do it all. We can juggle everything. And I remember when I first came to this country, and one of the things, how they ask you, what are your strengths? And I say, oh, I can multitask. I can do multiple things at one time. And then years later, as I got trained and became, a mental health professional, I realized that, oh my goodness, that is the most detrimental thing to say, to brag about being able to juggle everything and to do everything and to try and do more and more and more so that you can be a good worker, good person, good wife, good girl, good boy. And that takes its toll after a while. And that's why I say, sometimes we have to recognize that stress is silently killing us. We need to take the time to recognize what we're dealing with, what we're tolerating, and how much of it is taking out our energy as well as our strength. There's a vicious cycle that happens with stress. So many people came. I came in the 80s, early 80s. So when I came, I didn't come because Zimbabwe was not, good at that time. I came in to strictly pursue education. I wanted to, study in America. So I came in at a time where I wasn't running away. They were giving out visas very easily. But that's not everyone. Many people have had to struggle even from the get-go of trying to get the visa to come here or going through the stresses at home. So what happens is with that, right, we go through a cycle of vicious cycle. You start off back home or in here in this country and, trying to adjust. What happens is it builds up as thoughts, right, of things that we have gone through or we are still going through, we are still struggling with. So I'm going to start the cycle with the thinking of having all these things that, we've gone through, and many of it's struggles. So we might say all the struggles that we've gone through. So with those struggles come feelings of them, whether it's painful feelings, whether it's hurtful feelings, whether it's sadness, but we go through these feelings that, if not dealt with, they affect who we are, how we show up, and then it affects performances, especially in the workplace. If you are at work, it affects your performance at some point or another. It affects your performance. But in this instance, I want that performance to be your performance as a human being, whether in your life, in your relationship, in your parenting, or whether it's just individual life, but it affects who you are and how you live each day and each moment. And that's why we want to make sure that you take control of how you're thinking, how you are feeling, because when you take control of these two here, guess what? The behavior changes and your performance also changes. So it's important to think about, have I dealt with everything that is bothering me? And I'm saying this because then, having been in counseling for 25 years, it's amazing how our people, we didn't talk about going to counseling a lot when we were back home, right? But then what I'm realizing now is we didn't call it counseling. We go to church and we have the elders in the church. We go to elders in the village, go to auntie or uncle and talk to them about the problems that you're having or the things that you're going through. And we didn't realize that that was counseling. So we come into this foreign land now, and all of a sudden it's like, no, I don't go for mental health because that's counseling, and I'm not mentally crazy is what I hear from people, or there's nothing wrong with me. But what you realize is in counseling, we're talking about what these things that trigger the thinking or the things that you've gone through in your life that might affect or are affecting your feelings and affect your behavior and affect your performance. So it's important to just know that mental health counseling or just counseling in itself, that's why we now also are certified as life coaches. It's not just for those people that are going through depression and anxiety and severe mental illness. It's for you and I, regular people like you and I, to go through and go sit down with someone and go and talk about these things that might cause that vicious, cycle. Oops. Okay. So what is the key? The key is knowing what stresses you. The key is identifying and putting your hand and your finger on, this is exactly what's going on with me right now. So I call that taking responsibility of your own mood and your own feelings. Because many a time what happens is when we don't identify what is stressing us, right? You're at home, the children decide to be children, the husband or the wife decide to be just a husband and wife, just nagging or saying something, and all of a sudden you see somebody going off, getting angry and getting mad, and you're like, wait a minute, what happened? Did I say anything? And yet whatever happens is whatever they're thinking and dealing with at that moment is what you triggered, and then people get upset, getting irritated, and getting angry. So it's important to know what it is that we're feeling on a moment by moment, day by day, every day, to understand what's going on. So if it's back home, that is stressful. Many people still have, I know I do, we have a lot of families that are still at home that we are supporting. And, I went home for the first time in 2014. After having been here, all those years, I had not gone home, but I was sending so much money and taking care of, cousins, uncles, because my mother is here, but my father is still back home. They're no longer together, but he has, his own family there. And you know how it is, even though they're not together, you still take care of your mother and your father, wherever his village is. You make sure that you send food over there too and take care of him. But when I went there and saw all these relatives and everyone there, and they were living a better life than my life, that just like, you look around and you're like, wait. I thought people were struggling over here because I have all these bills that are behind because I'm sending all this money, and show me your grade reports so that I see, and I see the grade reports, people are failing. I said, wait. I've been sending all this money and you all are failing in school. What is going on in here? I say that because sometimes we continuously assume that everyone is doing well and everybody's struggling when we continue to struggle over here. So be aware and make sure that you're not just sending money for people to play and not go to school, or for people to build bigger houses and better houses than your house. And then here, I didn't start off as a psychologist working in private practice. I started off working in a nursing home. And I was a nurse's aide and I was a home health aide for years and years. So you know how that is. I'm doing doubles, I'm lifting people and I'm doing this, but I'm sending the bulk of the money back home whilst I'm living in a small little apartment over here, and also trying to go to school so that I don't end up just working and breaking my back for the rest of my life. And that was my goal, right? But then when I went home, I decided, you know what, I need to be, responsible, careful, insightful, whatever word you put to it, but I needed accountability from the people that I was helping, especially this younger generation that I was helping. I also needed to train the ones that are elders in there, that you don't have to eat rice and chicken every day. You can have vegetables also, so you can stretch, the $100 that I'm, and not, eat all the school food every day.
Yes, was it yesterday?
So there's somebody who's not on mute. Can you mute yourself? There's somebody saying something. Can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Okay. So it's important that you identify any of these that are stressing you out, so that you are not going through, struggles here in America and working hard whilst you are, paying extras for the people that are back home. So real quick, there's a handout that will be emailed to you if you haven't got it yet. I have a handout that I created for you that you'll be getting on the things that you can do to manage stress. And I wanted to just go through it, before I open up and do our discussion. So the managing stress, how do you manage stress? The first thing that you have to do is to avoid unnecessary stress. Learn to say no. Avoid people, places that stress you out. Take control of the environment. Take control of when you send money and how you pay your bills. Budgeting was never anything that I was taught when I was back home. Neither is it something that I knew, but I've learned now that it's very important and key to have a budget and live on a budget, because it helps me to take control of my environment. Avoid hot button topics. There are certain topics that continuously, no matter what we do, they give us stress when we, involve ourselves or get ourselves more involved in those topics. What are those hot topics for you? What are those hot button topics, for you? They're different for each one of us. Try and write a to-do list for every day, every week, every month, and every year. It helps you to not do too much or to want to be a superman or a superwoman. We have this tendency where I can do everything, and I can, my favorite Bible verse is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I had to tweak that and says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, But I have to make sure that I am not overexerting myself and working myself beyond what I'm capable and able to do. The second thing is try and alter the situation that is stressing you out. How do you do that? You express your feelings, you speak up, you talk about it, you become aware of what you're feeling, because many a time people do not, get to deal with the stress because they're bottling their feelings up. They don't want to upset another person and they don't want to say the wrong things. But sometimes that's not good for us, because then if I don't find a way to express how I'm feeling and somebody doesn't know how they're making me feel, or a situation continues to be present and I'm expecting that situation to change, then I am the one that will suffer for a long time. I have to be the one that changes. So be willing and be open to compromise. Be more assertive, which means taking control of your life and your situation, and manage your time better. Number 3, be adaptable to what stresses you. I say to people, let me tell you, I'm from Africa, I'm from Zimbabwe. So when it comes to being adaptable, I can adapt to anything, because if I could leave my country and come and adapt to life in this country, then I can adapt to anything, because then at the end of the day, I am still a foreigner who's struggling and wanting to survive in this country. But the good thing is I'm taking the word struggle out, because America is a land of opportunity and honey. So if I continue having the word struggle in my mind, I might not be able to experience the honey and the opportunities that are in America. And that's one thing that we as Africans have to get out of our minds, that we do not have to struggle every time. We do not have to stay in that box or mindset of struggle. We can adapt and now look for the honey and look for the opportunities, because we can be and also have what everybody else is having around us. So look at the big picture of your life. What are your goals? What are you looking to achieve? Many a time, it's interesting when I work with people, when we're doing coaching and I ask this question, people are just working every day, as long as I pay my bills, take care of my family, I'm good. I'm like, wow, that must be so boring, because then what you're telling me is you're just looking to that day when God calls you home and you're gone. Nothing else is going on in your life. You just wake up, go to work, get your paycheck, pay your bills, and then wake up, go to work, pay your bills. I mean, why wouldn't we be depressed, right? That is depressing. So adjust your standards. Focus on the positive things that are working in your life, that have worked in your life, so that you can adapt to any stressful situation. Number 4, accept the things that you can't change. I love, if you go to my house, you will see the serenity prayer in every room. From the bathroom to the bedroom to the living room, I have a picture of it hung on my wall. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, because there are many things that we can't change. And I know you and I, sometimes we forget that, okay, ask yourself, now, what can I change? How can I change this? Is this something that I have control over? And when we ask ourselves that, it's easier to let go. It's easier to not stress about the things that we can control. So I have this all over. And, if this is something that will be encouraging and inspiring to you, I also encourage you to read the Serenity Prayer at all times and ask yourself, can I control this? Am I in control of this? And if there's something that you can control or do, then do that. And then don't stress about the other things that you have no control over. Look for the upside. As the saying goes, what does kill us make us stronger? Share your feelings, as I said before. Learn to forgive. Make time for fun and relaxation. This is a foreign one for many people. Like, what do you mean make fun for relaxation? My people, we need to take vacations. We need to take vacations and literally map out to say, in June, for these 2 weeks, I'm on vacation. So let us not, continue to fill in for those people that go on vacation. We wait for the schedule to open up so that we can get our doubles in whilst they're on vacation. We need vacations ourselves. I used to do that. I used to wait and just look on the schedule. Who's going on vacation? Then I get my doubles, because then it's double time when I do my doubles. And I never took time for myself. And throughout the years, I've realized that, you know what, that is detrimental. And I certainly understand why I ended up getting diabetes, because I was a hard worker and wanted to work all the time until that, diagnosis came in. And I realized that, you know what, I now need to make sure that self-care is important, and I make time for self-care. So set aside relaxation time, connect with others. Remember, back home, the best times were once we go to church, come back to church, and we eat together in that plate and sit down and laugh and just talk and just sit under the tree, eat mangoes or, other fruits, bananas under the trees. We can create that right here in this United States. Whether you are in person or even through Zoom like this year, you can still do that and just find time to connect with loved ones and other people. Even back home, you can connect with them on WhatsApp and do videos on WhatsApp, or you can call them on Facebook and do video or, telephone on Facebook, which is free. Keep your sense of humor. Be a person. We are happy people as Africans. We are happy people. We smile for no reason. And people are like, why are you happy? And I said, to be honest with you, just to be here and to have the opportunity to be in this country and to be alive, I have to laugh about it. I have to be grateful about it, because not everyone that I know have, had this opportunity to come here. Neither are they even alive if they're back home. So every day, I don't even have to, find a reason to be grateful. I have a reason every day to be here today, to meet all of you. It's a great opportunity and blessing, because then, you know what, if it wasn't for His grace and for me being here, I would never have, met you all in this, arena. So this day was ordained for us to meet today and be able to talk about stress. Be adaptable to what stresses you. That means exercise regularly. Don't make exercise a word that you go, exercise, what is that? Exercise is good. Eating healthy diet is also a good thing for us to make sure that we watch, what we eat. And we eat sadza, and I'm sure you all know we eat sadza. But then, you know what? I used to eat a whole big plate of sadza and big plate of beef and everything. But now I understand that in order to regulate my diet, I can't just eat that big plate and just sit down and sleep, or sit down and just relax, So you have to make sure that you also monitor and regulate your diet. Avoid alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs. And most of all, get enough sleep, because sleep is really good. So stress is manageable. There are many things that you have to let go. Know what you can and cannot control, and make it a habit of looking mostly at what is working and what has gone right so far in your life. And there's so much that we can be grateful for. There's so much that we can just hold on to say, you know what, if this has happened to me, if this has worked, for me, I definitely know that somebody up there is looking out for me, and there's much more that there is to my life that I need to be grateful for and wait for. So before I open up and take this down so that we can see each other and open our videos, I have a couple quotes that I wanted to share with you. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. William James. When you find yourself stressed, ask yourself one question. Will this matter in 5 years from now? If the answer is yes, then do something about the situation. If your answer is no, let it go. Catherine Pulsifer. And before we start, let me also ask you this question. On a piece of paper, or even in the chat, can you write your current stress level? Is it 0? Are you like, I have no stress at all? Or is it 10? That, you know what? I do have some stress, whether it's work stress, personal stress, relationships. On your piece of paper, write down your number or even in the chat, your number, and next to it, write whether it's work, personal, or relationships. So just WPR, or you can just write, mine is just P, or mine is just R, and just write an R in there. And with that, I'm gonna ask that we close the. If you want to contact me or book me as your speaker at your next conference or workshop, then email me at drstem14@gmail.com.
Are you ready to live your best life? You deserve to wake up in the morning feeling excited about the day ahead. Don't waste any more time putting off your heart's desires. Embrace your passionate, joyful life with our brand new Unstoppable Renew You Love Your Life 90-day coaching program. Discover what makes your heart sing. Together we'll set meaningful goals and craft a path to a life you absolutely love. Are you ready to be free, fearless, and unstoppable? Visit our website at www.drstemi.com to learn more and book a free discovery call.